Hello folks, today I want to talk about a customer-centric world, which is the world that we live in now, and how to survive, and not just survive, but how to thrive in a customer-centric world. I'm really excited about this webinar. I know we've only got half an hour together, but I want you to get some real practical value out of it. It's a cut-down version of a workshop that I offer at conferences. So when people book me to speak at conferences for their keynote presentation, quite often they'll get me to do a workshop as well, and this is one of the workshops that I do, well, a cut-down version of that workshop. So I picked a couple of key ideas from that workshop or breakout session, and I picked ideas that I can share with you quickly, but also that you can work with at a practical level. So please get ready, have pen and paper ready or finger and iPad, and get ready to do some work, because there will be some practical things, and I'll ask you some questions for you to be more customer centric. And my goal at the end of this webinar is that you'll have a list of a few things to do, and I'm hoping no more than 2 or 3 that you can put into place straight away to become more customer-centric in your business, in your team, regardless of the size of the business and the size of the team. Okay, so just to get started, let me tell you about an experience that I had recently, which wasn't very customer-centric, and I had to get some medical tests done. Nothing major. I was just getting my insurance broker suggested that I could switch my insurance and save quite a lot on premiums. So I switched over to a new insurer, and they wanted me to, for my income protection insurance, get some medical tests done, just a routine tests, blood tests and blood pressure and just basic stuff. So I had a nurse come around a couple of days ago to do these tests, and I don't want to talk about the appointment, the process itself during the test. That was fine, but I want to talk about the process that we went through to actually get to the point where she turned up on my doorstep. So first of all, I had a phone call from the insurer. So my broker told me the insurer is going to get in touch. I wasn't around because I was traveling, left a voicemail, and didn't leave a phone number for me to call back, but because I was traveling, I couldn't call back that day. So I got a second call from the insurer, so again, leaving another voicemail, again, asking me to call back, and when I got the chance, I did. Now, getting medical insurance done, getting insurance is not top of my priority list, but I did want to get it done. So I called back, and he said, okay, what are some possible dates? And so I said, here are the dates. And then I got an email from the insurer, from him, saying, okay, what dates are you available? I replied saying, here's a date that that I could be available. Didn't get a reply. But a couple of days before that date, I got a text from the nurse saying I'm arriving tomorrow, and please be ready. And it was actually the wrong date, so I had to reply saying, no, sorry, that was the wrong date. And so can you please get back to me with the correct date, because I won't be available tomorrow. So anyway, the point I'm making here is that I went through 7 steps to make a simple appointment. And this is not even the procedure and the paperwork that we had to go through and the test that we had to do. It was just the back and forth with emails and texts and phone calls and voicemails, just to make a simple appointment. And it shouldn't be the case anymore. That's the exact opposite of being customer-centric. And when people want to book times with me, I use this online booking service called You Can Book Me, so youcanbook.me, and it just sets up an online calendar which is linked to my Google Calendar. So whenever I've got appointments booked, that time is unavailable for other people to book. I can say what time of the day and what days I'm available for meetings and appointments and interviews. I can set up different profiles, so when I'm traveling, I can set up times that people can meet me when I'm traveling, as opposed to times that people can meet me when I'm at home, or people can set up phone conversations with me or Skype conversations. And this software is available for $10 a month. So there's no excuse for any business not to use something like this, because your customers are expecting that now. In fact, even if you're running something like a squash court, there are these tools now for this is one called Fast Courts, which just allows online calendar booking for booking squash courts. Now, if a squash court and a solopreneur can do that, why can't a large insurance company do the same thing? So that's my rant for the day, and it's a little bit of a complaint, but I hope it makes a point that being customer-centric is not only about the product and service that you deliver, but it's about the whole experience. And this is what I mean. You've got smart, savvy, talented customers who are so used to doing stuff online now that you need to be working with them rather than using antiquated systems. So let's look at how to be more customer-centric. And I often say that our world has become fast, flat, and free. So things that used to cost a lot now cost a lot less. We're breaking down barriers and hierarchies, and the world's got a lot faster. So one of the first things that I do when I do consulting with clients is look at the opposite of that. Because if fast, flat, and free is the way that the world's going, and is what your customers and clients are expecting, well, the opposite of that is slow, bumpy, and expensive. So I ask people, what's slow, bumpy, and expensive in your business or in your organization, and what can you do to do something about that? So the first thing I want to talk about is for you to look at what's slow, bumpy, and expensive in your business. And I've got some words here that'll give you some ideas about things to look at. So if there's anything that's slow, if you're offering a service, if something's really technical or complex in your business, then it could be outsourced or eventually automated. Um, Bumpy is if you're working in an industry or your clients are working in an industry that's regulated, licensed, controlled, mandated. So that's from outside, but even inside it's things like having to send voicemails and emails and multiple touch points to do simple things like making appointments. So that's an example of bumpy. And the last one is expensive. So are you charging upfront fees and rather than an ongoing license? Does it take a long time for customers and clients to see the results? Is the whole process boring and there's a lot of paperwork and stuff to fill in like you have to do for insurance? And so if it is, then that's a possible risk, a possible threat to your business, and a possible point for you to improve. It's an opportunity for competition to come in as well if you don't do it. So if you don't break that, if you don't fix that, then somebody else will. So let me give you a couple of examples. One that's really well known, the taxi industry. The taxi industry is or was, and to some extent still is, slow, bumpy and expensive, tightly regulated, tightly controlled. Most people didn't have a choice if they were choosing to use a taxi. And so then suddenly along comes Uber and completely disrupts the industry, so much so that it was illegal and is still illegal in some places, but it provided such a compelling, fast, flat and almost free experience that it's actually forced governments to change laws. It's forced society to change. And if you've never used Uber before, I recommend that you do. And the biggest advantage is not the fact that it's a little bit cheaper, because it is, but the fact that you look at the experience and you look at how Uber has looked at every possible slow, bumpy bit in the taxi experience and converted that and fixed that and addressed it. Okay, so that's an example that we all know about. Here's an example that a lot of people don't know about, but in healthcare, this is an example of an ECG device. So if you have a heart condition, you have to go to your cardiologist or GP regularly to get ECGs done. But now they've got this device that you attach to your iPhone and you can do an ECG yourself. This is an example of someone doing it on somebody else just to demonstrate it, but the way it works is that you have this little device you stick on the back of your phone and you just hold your fingers to it and it does an ECG. It costs about $1 a test and you do it daily and if you need to, and the data is sent wirelessly to a remote monitoring center. So that's an example of something that required a lot of technical skills but was slow, bumpy and expensive, and now has been replaced by something that's fast, flat and pretty much free. Let me give you one more example, and then I want to ask you to work or to give me ideas from your own business of things that are slow, bumpy, and expensive. This is an example, a very personal example, because it happened to me. About 20 years ago, I started one of Australia's first web design businesses. So this is what our website looked like in 1998. So web design at that point was pretty basic. The technology was hard to use. It required a lot of technical skill. It was expensive to do. You couldn't just outsource it to India. And so web design at the time was slow, bumpy, and expensive, which is pretty good for a web design company like we were. So we would charge typically about $5,000 for a small business website. So there's an example of a financial planner here, as professional speaker, a small association, an association of speakers, a small school, and so on. So we would charge about $5,000 and it would take about 3 months to build a website. And then technology got better and I realized that there were better options. So then I started offering these workshops to build your website in 2 days. You turn up, with your laptop with a plan for a website, and I'd hold you hostage for 2 days, and at the end of it you'd walk out with a really professional website. And that workshop cost $1,000, so we went from $5,000 in 3 months to $1,000 and 2 days. And then it got even better. And some people here who are members of my eGurus membership site may remember this webinar that I ran last year, about a year ago, which is how to build a website in an hour using this service called Strikingly. And in front of, like in front of their eyes, I actually built a website from scratch in a webinar in an hour. And my membership site's about $50 a month. Strikingly is about $50 a year, so you could say it's $100. So we've gone from $5,000 and 3 months to $100 and an hour. So just think about what could happen if you've got any service or any product that does cost thousands of dollars and takes some time to create or deliver. Imagine if somebody could come along and offer it for $100 in an hour. You may not know how this is going to happen, and in fact you may not even think it's possible, but just imagine if it is possible, because that's the best way for you to get ready for the future. And we'll talk soon about how customers are going to, and how you can involve your customers and clients in creating that future. But the first thing to do is just to imagine that future could actually exist. And many businesses have blinders on. They just don't believe that anyone could offer the same service, the same quality of product or service that they're offering with this sort of scale. So going from $5,000 in 3 months to $100 and an hour. Okay, so I'm going to stop for a bit because I want to show you, I've put up this slide again showing you the things that are related to slow, bumpy and expensive, and I want you to figure out for yourself and to identify for yourself the things in your business which you think are slow, bumpy or expensive. And I'll ask you please to share them in the question box. I'll keep this anonymous, so whatever you share, I'll read out what you shared, but I won't say who shared it, only because we don't need to know, but it's useful for other people to hear what you're sharing as well. So for example, you might say, so I might say, because big part of my business is speaking at conferences, and one of the things that's slow, bumpy and expensive for clients is travel costs, because I live in Perth and most of the time I need to travel, I need to fly, so there is a cost associated with the airfares, accommodation, transfers and so on. So that's part of the service that I offer that at the moment is slow, bumpy and expensive to the client, and I need to think about how I could change that. So for me, I would say something like travel costs for doing professional speaking. Okay, so I can see some answers coming in. Yep, so online property appraisals and virtual reality property viewing. Okay, so I think this is somebody who's saying that that could be a fast, flat and free version of that, because at the moment they're doing in-person property appraisals and in-person property viewing. Yep, good. Getting to know the client, his environment, his market and how I can help takes time, it's slow, etc. Yep, good. This is an interesting one, out of stock jewelry pieces. So I don't know what they're saying, that things that are out of stock, that suddenly becomes an inconvenience for the client, maybe. Typing up notes, creating a unique personal brand for an individual. Yeah, absolutely. So all of these are examples of things that are slow, bumpy and expensive. They don't have to be all three of them, but again, these are opportunities for you in your business, as well as potential risks to your business and opportunities for competitors. Travel, accommodation, health tests, tracking client activity. Okay, so I know this person, the service that he offers. So yeah, there are a lot of things in his business that he's identified as slow, bumpy, and expensive. And just one other example with the a couple of other ones, physical office costs. Yeah, another example with that insurance example. So I filled in a bunch of paperwork, and I must give credit to my broker that he made sure that I had to do the minimum effort to get over the line with the new insurance. So he did the minimum that he had to do. So, but there was still, I had to have an interview. Well, he talked me through over the phone to fill in the form, so I didn't have to do it. Did some paperwork, but then the nurse came along and she asked me some of the same questions again. So that sort of thing, which is inconvenient, is something that is a potential opportunity for improvement. And one more, keeping in touch with all clients. Yeah, that is something that is slow, bumpy, or expensive. Okay, so what do we do about it? And I've talked I mean, we haven't really talked about how to integrate your customers and clients into your process, but that's what we're going to talk about next. So, I mean, we've talked about the potential, but let's look at some practical things that you can do to integrate your customers and clients into the process. And the way to do it is to think about, as much as you want to be fast, flat, and free, you also want to be involving your customers and clients, because, as I said right at the start of the webinar, you've got really smart, talented, savvy individuals around you in your network, and they're not just you and your team, but they're also your customers and clients. So how do you involve them? And the key to this is to understand this one principle, which is that earlier trumps faster. So as much as you want to be faster, flatter, and freer, when you're thinking about involving your clients or customers, then earlier trumps faster. And what I mean by that is, if you think about the product or service delivery life cycle, then it goes through a number of stages, and the earlier you involve your customers, the better. So let me show you what I mean. So let me broadly say there are 6 stages that you go through in any product or service delivery. So first of all, you decide what product or service you're going to offer. You design and build it. So the design stage here involves all of the design and the building of that product or the design of the service that you're about to deliver. Then you do the sales and marketing, which is this promote step, and then you deliver it. And that might be a sale for a physical product, or it'll be the delivery of the service for a service. You offer after-sales support, and then you ask your customers and clients for feedback so that then you can figure out how to improve the process, and then that cycle starts all over again, because you go back and choose what to improve, and then you go back through the process all over again. So here's a key. This is what I mean by earlier trumps faster. The earlier you involve your customers and clients in this process, the better. So I'm going to give you 6 examples, one from each of these 6 areas, and I'd like you to think about, how can I get my customers and clients involved at these stages? And what we're going to do is we're going to go through them backwards. So we're going to start from feedback and work all the way back to choose. So it looks a little bit backwards, but it makes sense, because we're going from the worst, even though the worst is pretty good, but then going back to the best. And I'd like you to think about, try and find at least one thing that you could possibly do in your business for each of these 6 stages. Now, it may not be a practical thing, but that's okay. I'd rather that you have the idea and then later eliminated it, rather than think about or not have any ideas at all, because it's better to have the idea and even write it down and then decide that it's going to be something that you do in the long term, or maybe not at all, because remember that your competitors are going to be thinking about things like this. Okay, so let's go through these 6 steps, and I'll give you an idea from each one, and a real life example from each one, and that might trigger some ideas for you. Okay, so the first one is asking your customers and clients for feedback. So this is after you deliver after you sell them the product or deliver the service or create the experience, do you get feedback from them? This is a picture from Seoul in South Korea, where the local mayor and the council decided that they wanted to hear more from their customers, who are their local residents. So they've erected this giant ear in the town square. So if you've got a complaint or a criticism or even a compliment, you can walk by, lean over into the ear and speak into it. And that gets recorded. Not just gets recorded, it gets broadcast through City Hall. So everybody knows what the local residents, in other words, their customers, are saying about them. And they can use that to improve the service that they offer. So you may not want to go to that extent, but just keep in mind that people are giving feedback on your product or service. And if they're not doing it in a forum that you create, they're doing it somewhere else where you've got no control. And I'm not just talking about businesses that have big online review sites, like industries like travel and tourism and hospitality, even Rate Your Doctor, Rate Your School, Rate Your Job. Those sort of services are available, but I'm just talking about you. You as a small business owner, even as an individual business owner, people are talking about you. Maybe they're only talking to their Facebook friends, but they are talking about you. They're getting, you have the opportunity to get that feedback. They're providing that feedback, and are you listening to it? Are you asking for it, and are you listening to it? So, just going to just give you a few seconds to jot down what you might be doing to be better at getting feedback from your customers and clients. So just jot it down for yourself, and at the end, once we do all 6, I'll ask people to share some practical things that they think they're going to go away and do. So you don't need to write in the question box just yet. I want you to spend your time figuring it out for yourself first. Okay, I'm not going to stop for long with each of these because I want to get through all 6 of them. But remember, you can watch the recording later if you want to. Okay, so the next one is customer support. So this is even before you ask for feedback. You've delivered the product, you've sold the product, you've delivered the service. What sort of after-sales support do you offer? And I want to be clear here. I'm not talking about the after-sales support that you offer to your customers. I'm talking about, are you allowing your customers to do some of the support for you? In other words, are you allowing them to help each other, not just rely on you for help? So there are many online forums that online customer forums. All the big tech companies have them, but I picked this example because it's one that's typically you wouldn't think would do this. It's an accounting firm, Thomson Reuters, a large global accounting firm. They have lots of clients and they support their clients, but they also provide an online forum where their clients can support each other. So they can ask questions and other clients respond to it. So are you doing the same thing? Are you providing a forum, online or offline, for customers to talk to each other and support each other? I know one travel agent who does this. Actually, I've got a couple of travel agents on the line here, so it might be an interesting idea that you could borrow or adapt. One travel agent does this, so after her customers come back from a tour, she has a little bit of party, a celebration, and you know, all the people who've been on the tour come along, but she also says bring a couple of friends along as well. So she gets new business from it, but she also gets a chance for customers to kind of help each other and talk about the tour. And in that way, it's a little bit of a celebration rather than support, but it does provide a supportive environment as well and a way to get new business. Okay, the next one, so just let me give you a couple of seconds to think about ideas that ways that you can get your customers to support each other. That's what we're looking for here. And just remember, if you provide a great service, a great experience, or sell a great product, then they do want to help each other. They will happily jump in and say, sorry you're having this problem, here's how I got around the same problem, or here's my solution to it, or here's something even better that you can do. Okay, let's move on to the next one. So the next one is we're moving further back in the product delivery cycle. This is actually doing this delivery of the service or the creation of the product. Monmouth is a town in Wales which calls itself the world's first Wikipedia town, because all around Monmouth at places of interest they have these ceramic plaques with QR codes on them. So anyone walking by can snap their QR code on their phone and it goes to a page on Monmouth's Wikipedia site. The thing is, so it's all set up by the local council, but all the pages are created and maintained by the local residents. Even those ceramic plaques are created by this woman who creates them for places of interest around the town. So Monmouth, the local council has got their customers actually doing their work for them. Can you do the same? Is there a way that you can get your customers and clients to actually deliver the product or service for you? Because again, sometimes if it's something that they're aligned with, they're more than happy to do it, and they will happily do it, even though that you might think, oh, that's my job. They will happily do it. Okay, so I'm going to give you the chance to think about, to be a bit creative here, think about how you can involve your customers and clients in actually delivering the product or service for you. As an example, I do this with my webinars. Quite often I will have, or I wouldn't say quite often, but from time to time, I will invite members of my membership site to be guests on my webinars, or I'll interview them for my podcast. And they're people who are paying to be in my membership site, but they're happy to contribute, they're happy to help me, and in return, they get a copy of the webinar recording, they can promote it themselves, they get some exposure as well. So is there a way that you can involve your customers and clients, even your paying customers and clients, in delivering your product or service? Okay, I think that's enough time for that one. Let me go back to, let's take back a step to sales and marketing. This is promotion. So there are two kinds of promotion. There's the traditional kind. When I was in Sydney recently, when Uber was first made legal by the New South Wales state government, at one of the major bus stops in Wynyard in Sydney, uh, everyone getting off the bus, there were some Uber people handing out these $20 vouchers. So that's a traditional way that sales and marketing is done. You just do mass marketing and you try to do targeted in this way to people who are catching the bus. But Uber does it the other way as well. And the other way is to get their customers to do marketing for them. So when I first signed up with Uber, I got a discount code, a promo code. This is my promo code, so if you're not an Uber member and you want to sign up, then use this promo code because you get $20 off your first ride, and I get $20 off as a reward for referring customers because Uber knows that I can get in front of people that Uber can't. For example, the people who are attending this webinar or who are attending the conferences where I speak and I show this example. So Uber has very cleverly got me involved in promoting their product for them. Can you do the same? Let me stop for a few seconds and give you the chance to do that, to think about that. It doesn't have to be monetary reward either. It doesn't have to be any reward, in fact. Some customers and clients are quite happy to do it for you. Okay, two more to go. Can you get your customers and clients involved in designing your product, service, or the experience that you offer? Auckland City Council does this when they're redesigning a road layout. Before they send in the bulldozers, they use this street mix service, which is like a 3D virtual modeling for roads. So you can design the car lanes, the turning lanes, bike lanes, pedestrian crossings, bus stops. You can design the width of lanes and so on. And so Auckland City Council does this, and then anyone who's interested, which will be the local residents, can go in and modify that to make suggestions. And then the council takes into account all of those suggestions before deciding on the final layout. So they're getting, even though they've got qualified people in their team to do this, they're getting their customers involved in the design of the product or in this case, the service that they offer. So can you do the same thing? Can you get your customers and clients actually involved in the design of the service before you even start thinking about design? By the way, design means designing and building before you start talking about even sales and marketing. Okay, so how can you get them involved? Maybe as simple as just asking them what features they would like. Okay, and one last one. So the last one is, can you get your customers and clients involved in choosing what product or service you actually offer? So the example I've got here is from one of the crowdfunding sites, Indiegogo. So you may have heard of Kickstarter and Indiegogo. They're two of the biggest crowdfunding sites. And there, people who've got an idea will, in fact, I think there's a couple of people on the webinar today who actually do have Indiegogo or Kickstarter projects. I think so. So even before you decide to create or design anything, you put your proposal up there and see if people are willing to commit money to it. This one here that I've chosen is a real-time language translation device. So there's a little red thing that you stick in your ear and someone speaks to you in French, you can hear them in English or vice versa. So this is something that before the inventors or the people who had the idea, before they went into any design, they posted on Indiegogo and they were looking for $75,000 of backing money and they got 1.8 million. So you think this is a product that's really going to work? Absolutely, it's going to sell because they know they've already got people who are willing to put money behind it. Now, even if you don't do a Kickstarter or Indiegogo campaign, what can you do before you decide what product or service you're going to offer to ask your customers and clients or to get them involved in choosing what you actually decide which path you're going to go down? Okay, so think about what you can do there. Okay, so as I said, I'm only going to give you a few seconds on each one, but I hope you've got some ideas and I'd like to know. So remember the principle here is that earlier trumps faster. I'd like to know, what are the things what ideas have you got? So what will you do to be more customer-centric? So I'm going to ask you to just type in the question box any ideas that you've got from today that you'll be able to use and that you're thinking about using. So you're not making a commitment, you're just sharing your ideas here. And again, the reason I'm asking you to share it publicly is just that other people do get value from hearing what others are saying. Okay, so Kelly says, ask them Yeah, okay. Ask them what new program, what they want the new program features to be. Great. Okay. Create a Facebook page as a public forum. Good, Justice says that. Yeah, great. Great. Because people do interact and they share ideas with each other. A number of clients have given me access to their internal Facebook pages, consulting clients, and it's great to see the interaction and the engagement on those forums. Okay, a couple of them coming in. A group Facebook page for support and survey attendees after their presentations. Good. That's from David. Graham says, include a link to Facebook reviews in emails. Yes, I think, Graham, I think you're looking at there saying that the Facebook reviews are going to be your customers and clients promoting for you. And Anne says, on registration, ask webinar participants to invite colleagues. Great, great. Get your, that's a promotion. Get your customers and clients to promote for you. David says, graduates attend courses as coaches. Yeah, okay, good. Good. So that's actually getting them to do the work for you. Brilliant. And David says, buddy system for support. Great. Tessa says, design. In the design phase, I run jewelry home shows at my customers' homes. I ask my hostesses to choose the home show's theme. Excellent. And Lauren says, create and publicize referral program. Yeah, brilliant. Brilliant, because many people do have referral programs and they're happy to pay or give some sort of reward, but they may not talk about it. So brilliant. Okay, thank you everyone. Thank you for taking part. As I said, if you complete the exit survey that you'll get at the end of this webinar when you quit, then I'll send you a copy of this ebook, and the survey results do help me because they help me to know whether I'm being relevant and being engaging and if there's anything else you want. So please do complete that survey because that's really useful to me. I'm also, if you're interested more in innovation, I'm running a webinar series which is coming up in November. So it runs over, I've got two webinars a week apart, and there's a little bit of work in between as well. So we're going to delve into these ideas in a little bit more detail. If you're interested, you can go to gihanpereira.com and sign up. If you're not an eGurus member, it does cost money, so it costs $97 to sign up. But also people who've attended some of my conferences, like clients get access to that free as well. So if you might have already got a link to register for the webinars. If you're not an eGurus member, then sign up here. You definitely get more than your $97 value from that. As I said, this is a workshop or cut down version of a breakout session or workshop that I offer at my conference presentations. If you're interested in finding out more about me as a conference speaker, then please go along to gihanspeaks.com where you can find out, you can get all the details there, watch videos, see the past testimonials from clients and so on. So thank you very much for coming along. If you've got any questions or comments, please do email me, gihan@gihanpereira.com. And I look forward to hearing about your success stories about being more customer-centric in your business, in your team, in your organization. Thanks everyone, and bye for now.